Tim, can you hear us? Tim, can you hear us? Is he trying to talk? Tim, can you hear us? You need to unmute, Tim.
Now can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Are we good?
You're good.
I can't see you though. How come I can't see you?
You get to see the PowerPoint just like everyone else here, Tim. If you want to see me in person, you got to come to the meetings.
That's right, Tim.
So I can't see anybody else?
Everyone else is here.
I don't like this part. You should all be on the screen. Very good then. How's Mark?
Just fine. Just fine. Snow's melted.
Didn't have any. Yeah, I heard it was like 68 yesterday. You are viewing council chamber screen. Come on. How come I can't see that? Shouldn't I be able to see council's chambers? All right, it's gone very quiet. Are you guys still there?
We're still here. We still have 2 minutes.
Okay. I think I should push view options. Should I be able to see anything? Oh. All right, I can see the first floor plan, Village of Bartlett Plan Commission. Christie's done council chambers and me.
Like that. Everybody ready over there?
We're ready.
All right. I'd like to open up this Plan Commission meeting. The Village of Bartlett is having a hybrid meeting. And can we take the roll call at 7:02?
Mark Hopkins,
Here.
Tim Ridenauer,
Here.
John Miasso. Here. Austin Hopkins,
Here.
Jerry Callis, Dan Gunstein,
Here.
Jim Lemberg.
Here. Yeah, that's, do we have enough to go around? Okay. First item on the agenda is the approval of the November 12th, 2020 meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second? Okay.
Second.
Any additions or corrections? Secretary, call the roll.
Tim Ridenauer,
Yes.
John Miasso. Austin Hopkins.
Abstain.
Mark Hopkins.
Yes?
Jim Lemberg.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is number 21-03, the Bartlett Fire Training Facility. This is a site plan amendment and a special use to allow an accessory structure to exceed 35 feet in height. And this is also a public hearing. If there's anyone in the audience that's going to have a comment or question, we have a witness form back there by the clock to fill out. And when you fill it out, could you hand it in to staff, and we'll call you up at the appropriate time when the hearing is open up to the public. Okay. Would staff like to give us information on this one?
So the site in question was rezoned to the P1 Public Lands District in July of 2007 by Ordinance 2007-76. As you said, the petitioner is requesting a site plan amendment to add a 4-story, 2,880 square foot fire training facility constructed from 12 shipping containers. And it's to be located east of the existing fire station. The petitioner is also requesting a special use permit to allow for the height of the 41-foot 9-inch training facility to exceed the maximum 35-foot height requirement in the P1 zoning district. The parking area on the site would be extended eastward to where a concrete pad would be constructed to provide space for a fire truck to maneuver on one side of the structure. Due to the construction of the pad, 4 parking spaces would be removed from the northeast row of parking. The fire station parking lots would contain a total of 23 parking spaces, which meets the zoning ordinance requirement of 23 spaces. Fire training events would take place 6 to 8 times a month, with burning events taking place 4 times a year. As a condition of approval, the Fire Protection District would be required to contact the Bartlett Police Department in advance of training events to be prepared for calls from the public regarding smoke traveling from the structure. The smoke generated from these events would not exceed the level of smoke produced from a residential fireplace. The Fire Protection District follows regulations from both the Environmental Protection Agency and National Fire Protection Associations, which require the use of Class A combustible materials such as hay, paper, and wood. The facility is meant for training purposes only and would not be habitable. When the facility is not in use, the windows would be shuttered and locked, and the doors would be locked. The petitioner would be adding landscaping to the new parking island. All other landscaping, including the landscaping on the berm along West Bartlett Road, would remain as required per the approved 2007 landscape plan. The staff recommends approval of the petitioner's requests for a site plan and special use permit subject to the following, or the conditions and findings of fact detailed in the staff report.
Okay, we have the documents for notices for the public.
Yes, we have the public hearing signs were posted, certificate of the publisher, and then certificates of mail.
Okay, thank you. Someone from the petitioner here? Yes. Anyone that's going to have any testimony tonight, could you please stand and be sworn in? Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge? Thank you. Could you state your name and address, please? No, you can take it off.
Okay. First name is William Gabrenian, and my address is 33 West 741 Bear Bar.
Okay. Do you have anything to add to what the staff just presented?
No, I think they covered everything. I just didn't know anybody else had any questions specific with
Okay. Anyone on the commission have a question for the petitioner or staff?
I have some questions on it. Mark, did you want to go first?
Sure, why not? I noticed that nobody's here from Siebert or from Coppard or what have you, and, you're gonna generate smoke, right? What'd it say, 4 times a year? So, how is that gonna affect the neighboring properties?
So the smoke is no different than what you would see on a fireplace, which you really don't see a lot of that. So we can only burn Class A materials, so we'd be burning hay. We're only producing enough smoke inside that building to reduce visibility so we can practice doing our search and rescues and stuff like that.
Christie, I don't think his microphone is on.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll kind of start over. So, we're only allowed to burn Class A materials in that building. Just like, you know, when you burn in a fireplace, you really don't see a lot of smoke coming out fireplaces. Typically what we would be using is hay. It's it's the cheapest product that we can burn, that's Class A. And we're only burning enough inside the structure just to produce, low visibility so that we can practice our search and rescues. Once we open that building up, it's a very light, white, wispy smoke that dissipates very quickly. I would anticipate you're not even going to see it coming across West Bartlett Road.
That's a great answer. Thank you very much. The second question and last one that I have is that then no heat is generated or the smoke is not enough so that the outside of the building is going to stay the nice red color that you're showing in the renderings and won't blacken from heat.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Or soot.
Yeah, there's a little bit of heat that's produced there's specific what they call burn rooms, and there's a little, it's like a little 2-foot by 2-foot burn box, and that's where you put the hay in and light the hay to produce the smoke. So you're going to get a little bit of heat in that room, but we're not going to have fire blowing out windows or any of that kind of stuff. So it should stay, and in fact, I think there's a 10-year paint warranty on the building, so it should stay intact.
That's all I had, Austin.
So I got a few questions. I guess my first question is, looking at the site plan, you're going to be reducing parking spaces. So how many parking spaces are taken up by the staff that's there currently? And if you're going to have, I think I read in the packet that there's going to be different things going on at that thing, or there's going to be, I would take it, there's going to be other firefighters coming in from other stations in the town. Is there other communities that are going to be using this as well?
All right, so a lot of questions here. So the first one, when we talk about parking spaces, there's 4 people that are stationed there, so you're talking 4 cars. So we have 23 parking spaces. So there's a lot of parking spaces for the amount of people that are stationed at that station. When we have, to answer your second question, when we have other people coming from other stations, they're coming down in the apparatus that they're assigned to that day. So typically, when we're going to train in this facility, we might have crews from Station 1 and Station 2 that are coming down to this facility to train, but they're going to be in their engines, their ambulances, and that's why we're creating this big concrete pad so that we can position the vehicles.
How many engines can fit in that, or apparatuses can fit in that section?
Of the concrete pad?
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. Yeah. An engine's typically 18 feet, so 4 to 5. Yeah. There's quite a bit of room in that area.
I'm always concerned about parking, and I've stated it before in our village code. I think it needs to be increased. So you said 4 firefighters, is that fully staffed?
That's fully staffed.
That's fully staffed, so there's no other firefighters that can be put out there?
Nope.
Okay. You know, I'm just making sure, because if for some reason, if more firefighters get hired out there and the more parking spots need to be taken up, and now we're putting engines out there, it's going to limit parking spaces, but it seems like that's not going to be an issue.
No, there's 23 parking spots, so I don't.
And then going back to the burn, so you're not burning wood, it's just going to be hay? There's not...
That's a majority of what we burn is hay, correct.
Okay. Because I am concerned about, that area of town with Spring Lake Estates being there, which is an older senior population, is breathing issues. And that is a concern for me, especially if anything that's going to get burned there. And I don't know enough about fire codes, if there's something that can be done so you can burn other things down the road. Because if other things start getting burned there, I'm really concerned for the residents and businesses that are in that area, that it has to do with breathing in hazardous materials.
Yeah, so Spring Lake Estates is a quarter-mile away. So it would be nearly impossible to have any effects from a quarter-mile away. We fall under what they call National Fire Protection Association's guidelines and OSHA guidelines. We are only allowed to burn Class A materials. A lot of that has to do with cancer-causing agents and all this other stuff that you're going to find in wood or treated wood or other things like that. So we are only allowed to burn Class A materials. No different than what you're burning in your fireplace. When you talk about the smoke that's generated, and you talk about, your concerns, think about all the fireplaces that are in this village that produce smoke.
Sure.
Again, it's not to that extent.
Sure. It's my understanding that Carroll Stream has a similar tower.
Correct. In a neighborhood, by the way.
Okay. Is there a reason why Bartlett couldn't team up? If you're only using that burn type stuff for 4 times a year, wouldn't it just make sense to use theirs?
So there's several reasons that we don't go to Carroll Stream. One is that we have to pay overtime to do that in the amount of $50,000 a year. And right now their facility is out of service because they can't conduct live fire training in there, because theirs is an actual concrete building. It's a very large structure, actually. And because they were burning in their structure, over time, it has an effect on the building itself, on the brick and mortar. And my understanding is that some of that has started to crack. And so until they get those repairs made, they're not even allowed to do any type of burns in that structure. It's not feasible for us. I'm not going to take a unit out of service. I'm just not going to do that to our community. In order to send people over there, what somebody would suggest is that you take vehicles out of service, you take our firefighters out of town, and you send them all the way to Carroll Stream. We're not going to do that.
Okay.
You'd be reducing the services to the community.
Sure. And so speaking of reducing services to the community, during the burn, I guess even if there's not a burn going on, is there a full-time ambulance out there already?
What's that have to do with the burn tower?
Because if there's a burn going on, an ambulance should be present in case there's an emergency going on with the burn, to transfer a person to the hospital. So if that burn is going on and there's an ambulance that needs to be present for that, aren't we reducing service to the community?
So let me understand the question. So you're asking me, are we required to have an ambulance present whenever we're conducting training at that facility?
I'm just asking, will there be? Because I'm concerned about our residents and the firefighters, and making sure. I mean, if there's something that happens and they have to be transferred to the hospital, I would imagine there should be an ambulance on site to transfer them.
So I'm also concerned about our firefighters, and so all of our firefighters are paramedics, which is the same type of service you have on an ambulance. The only thing an ambulance does is allow us to transport that person to a hospital. So that's why we only have 2 ambulances in town and 3 suppression vehicles, because technically we have 15 or 14 paramedics on every single day. So depending on where that call is, there's always paramedics available.
I did not know that we only had 2 ambulances in town. I was unaware of that. To me, that's a concern, because if you're going to be having training out there, you got to be able to still provide the service. I mean, let's say you're having that training, you have an ambulance out there, and a call comes in. Who's going to the call? So to me, that's an issue. I mean, that's obviously more of a fire district issue than our issue.
Yes, definitely.
But to me, that's a safety issue, and that's something that we look at. Let me see if I have any other. The actual structure, what are these, shipping containers?
Correct.
Is any other facility around here use those?
There are other communities, and I don't know. I think Lombard is one of them. I don't have the list with me. There's another town. I think Orland Park has them also. There's a lot of towns that are moving to the shipping containers because they last a long time. They don't have the issues with brick and mortar.
It makes sense. And it's a typical foundation, concrete with footings and,
Correct.
yeah, I don't know, I just, to me, with that spot, the location on West Bartlett Road, coming into the village or exiting the villages, it's not exactly aesthetically pleasing. But I think that's all the questions I have for you guys. Thank you.
Okay.
I do have a question for staff, Roberta or whoever can answer. Would this type of structure with shipping containers, if a residential or a business wanted to put this similar structure in, would that be permitted?
We actually have a commercial entity in town that has already requested to utilize shipping containers as part of their development.
And were they keeping the outsides open, or were they putting something on the outside to kind of cover it
They
up?
would probably be three-sided, and one side would be open, and people would actually be in there, sitting in there, or shopping in there. I don't know if you're aware that St. Charles has a double-decker, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, right downtown. St.
Right in
Charles is
downtown
even-
St. Charles, it's a bar,
Yep,
and it's 2 stories.
yep.
So this is like the new fad that is coming in. It meets code, and it has piers, so as long as it meets all of our building regulations.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Any other questions? Tim, do you have any questions?
No, I guess I would just reiterate the way I understand it. When we use the term burn, it's simply to create reduced visibility inside the structure so that they can practice their necessary drills under low visibility. It's not a fire per se inside the building. Is that right, Chief?
Yeah, that's correct. That's what the intent is to provide that reduced visibility so that we can practice search and rescue, so that we can practice deploying hose lines. You know, the biggest thing about this thing, and I understand some of the concerns that are out there, is that this is going to make Bartlett a safer community, and you need to think about that. We don't have a place to train in this community. We don't have a place to throw ladders. We don't have a place to deploy hose lines. I don't have a place that I can smoke up and reduce visibility. I don't have a place where I can take somebody off of a second or third floor balcony because we have apartments in town. We don't have a location to do that for our firefighters. This will provide the location for us to do that, and so that we can train and be a safer community.
I think it's a good idea.
Thank you.
Anyone else have questions? No? Okay, at this time, I'm going to open it up to the public. Again, if there's anyone in the audience that has a question or comment, we have a witness form to fill out and turn it in to staff.
If there's anyone that's on via Zoom, we have someone that raised their hand.
Okay. Jay Langfelder, 1665 Penny Lane, Bartlett, Illinois, 60103. Can everybody hear me, first of all?
Yep.
Okay. Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. I am here tonight regarding concerns of the Bartlett Fire Protection Proposal for Bartlett Fire Station Training Facility Site Plan Amendment Special Use Permit. The major concern is the cost of the training tower, where we have currently training towers located in Carroll Stream, West Chicago, Elgin Community College, and Streamwood being built and to be completed by April. March 20th, 2018, the community and taxpayers of Bartlett Fire Protection District was generous in supporting the referendum to continue the level of service. The community was given the unfunded liability schedule of an aging fleet and the increased expenses and emergency alarms to the slow growth of revenue for the fire district, and the community supported and voted for the referendum. I am a strong proponent for fully trained staff in emergency situations when it comes to efficiently spending our resources for on the upkeep and replacing on the vehicle fleet takes precedence over proposed training tower. In the meantime, the last time I spoke at the Village Hall meeting, I talked to Danny Stetler of Carroll Stream Fire Department. And he is the supervisor, or he heads the tower in Carroll Stream. He informed me that that tower is operational, but it is closed twice a month in a year. But last year they were closed due to COVID. But he was very positive on the training facility and the opportunities it does provide for their fire district of Carroll Stream. But my main concern is the replacement of vehicles. And to my understanding, through a FOIA, the fire district provided that this facility here is costing the taxpayers $300,000. And I do understand from the last meeting, there's grants that is provided for this facility. But that's my main concern as a resident of the Bartlett Fire Protection District. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's anyone else via Zoom that would like to speak, please raise your hand. George, please unmute.
Hi, can you hear me?
Can you speak up, please?
Hi, could you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name is George LeBron, and I'm sorry I got to this meeting late. But I'm just wondering if you could explain to me what the purpose of this new plan is with this structure facility, and what harmful effects does it have to the air and pollution around our neighborhood, please?
So if I understood, he had a question specifically about pollution?
Yes.
Is that correct? Is that correct, sir?
Yes, my question is, what effects does this new facility you're looking to build have effect on our neighborhood with the pollution? From my understanding, it's a fire burning facility for firemen. I don't understand.
Yeah, sir. What neighborhood are you in?
I'm in Timberline Homeowners Association off Naperville Road.
Okay, so this, I don't know if you had heard me talk about this earlier. So the only thing that we're allowed to burn in a building like this, which we talked about only probably is going to happen about 4 times a year, is what we call Class A combustibles. So it's no different than, do you have a fireplace, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's no different than you burning in your fireplace. You're burning wood in your fireplace, which is a Class A material, just like most of the residents in the community do. Most likely what we would be using in this facility is just hay, because hay is easily accessible, it's very cheap for us, and it produces a nice white smoke, which is, I don't want to say it's non-toxic, but it doesn't have some of the issues like other things do, but we just create enough smoke in the structure so that it limits or lowers our visibility so that we can practice search and rescues.
And Chief, it's going to meet all of the Illinois EPA regulations?
Yes, we are under strict guidelines by OSHA, EPA, and the National Fire Protection Association. We're not allowed to do anything, just like somebody had asked, what do we put fires out with? We just use regular water. Again, the EPA regulates a lot of that stuff.
Okay, thank you.
All right, did that answer all your questions, sir?
At the moment, yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else via Zoom that would like to speak? Please raise your hand.
That's all you have for them?
That's all we have. The other 2 people that have joined did not raise their hand.
Okay, is anyone in the audience that have any questions or comments? No one? No one else on Zoom? Okay, I'm going to close this portion of the public hearing. Any members have any further questions or comments?
A question for staff. And it's microscopic, but I've seen this rise up elsewhere. The variance that we're asking for is 41 foot 9 inches, but it's measured in the drawings to the top of the footing. So can we be sure that that's okay if later on the top of the footing is 6 inches above grade? That's all right? 6 inches is fine. Okay. Okay.
No other questions or comments? No? Okay, then we have two items that we're going to be voting on. We're going to be voting on the fire training facility site plan amendment and the special use to allow a structure to exceed 35 feet. Is it okay with everyone to make just one vote on both of those items? Anyone have any objections? Is that okay with you, Tim?
Yes, it is.
Okay, then is there a motion to approve the petitioner's request for the Bartlett Fire Training Facility Site Plan Amendment and special use to allow a structure to exceed 35 feet in height?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Your third, Tim.
I didn't hear you, sorry.
Secretary, call the roll.
Yes?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right, so. Motion passed. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, good luck. Thank you for your service. Next item on the agenda is old business and new business. Do we have anything coming up?
We have a business in the Brewster Creek, or Bluff City Industrial Park that will be coming in next month. This will be a public hearing for a special use amendment to their previously approved preliminary PUD plan and general site plan for wood products production. And the following month, we will probably have a large subdivision development at the northwest corner of West Bartlett Road and Route 25.
Okay.
Okay. Any members have any questions or comments for staff?
No.
No? Okay.
Happy Easter.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Sure.
Very good.
I just closed this, don't I?
You, Tim.
All right, Marco.
Bye-bye.
Take care, you guys.
Have a good one, Doc.
All right.